you think you have responsibilities, but you don't.
Hello everyone and welcome to our 5th episode of Peer to Peer. My name is Flo Cuginelli.
I'm Luke Dubé.
And today we have our special guest, Miss Tinsley. So hello, Miss Tinsley.
Hi everyone.
To start off, like we do for every guest, can you just tell us a little bit about what you're teaching now at Monte Vista? Like, what is your class?
I'm teaching English 4, all English 4, so senior English.
And if you probably experienced her, or you had her in the past because she did teach freshman English, I think, last year too.
And sub.
And sub.
Yes, I've
which
been
is
around.
very fun.
You've been all around.
And if you've seen her at the football games.
Oh yeah.
All right, so Miss Tinsley, we just like to get started with where, like, have you always been in California? Like,
Yes, I grew up in California. I lived in Nashville, Tennessee for about eight years when I worked in corporate America. But yes, I grew up in California in a little town up by Yosemite called Mariposa, little town of about 1,000 people.
oh, so you had that small town
Yes,
vibe.
I did. Yeah.
Well, that was pretty cool. So, like, was your high school like a small high school, or did you like go somewhere huge like Monte Vista, or I guess you could call it big for a private school? Yeah.
Right. My high school was actually very similar to Monte Vista. It was a little bit smaller population-wise, but it drew students from all over the county. And Mariposa County is pretty big. It includes Yosemite National Park, so we had students whose parents were rangers that lived in the park, so they would commute from Yosemite to high school, and then all the surrounding little cattle towns. It's kind of a ranching community. So everybody kind of came from far and wide to this one high school.
So you kind of can maybe see the cultural differences,
Absolutely.
similarities.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that we have
Absolutely.
here.
And my dad was a teacher at my high school. So.
Oh, well, that's always a plus.
Same thing for you, Scott.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then, just like being in like a small town but a big school, like, did you have a lot of friends that like were in the same town as you, or were a lot of your friends like away? Because I know here, like, most of my friends live about 40 minutes away from me.
Right. I had like several different groups of friends depending on what I was involved with, and I did have friends that were outside of. Well, everybody lived away from each other because we all lived out in the country.
Yeah.
So nobody was. It was. You didn't really have next door neighbors unless you lived in town, and hardly anybody lived in town. But I was also really involved in an organization called Youth for Christ that was centered in Fresno, which was about an hour and a half away.
Wow.
And I did a lot of activities outside of school with them. And so I had a whole group of friends that lived in Fresno while I was in high school. So I had my school friends, and then I had my Youth for Christ friends. And at school I had my sports friends and my choir friends and my
Just a
ASB
lot of
friends.
friends.
Yeah.
You said you did sports. What did you play?
I played basketball.
Basketball.
And I did 1 year of track, but I hate running, so.
Yeah,
Well,
me
I
too.
hate running for no reason. You know, if I have a ball in my hand, then that's a different story, but.
Well, that's good because like you get to just explore, I guess, like your high school experience, but like also having a sport, I feel like makes everything a lot more, I guess, easy to integrate into.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
You
good.
get to connect with people and
Right.
establish yourself and maybe find more about who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
I went to school with a lot of kids that I went to kindergarten with.
Okay, that's
So
good.
we all grew up together, which is nice in some ways and not so nice in
Yeah,
other ways, and
I
that
feel the same way.
they decide who you are early on, and it's really hard to be different
You don't
from
get
what.
that fresh start.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But we played, our basketball team, we played together in junior high, and then we all kind of just stuck together all the way through.
Wow.
So that was cool. And we traveled really far for away games. So they were like an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
Soledad was far.
Yes, exactly. Like all our games were like Soledad.
Wow.
Really?
I think the closest one was like 40 minutes away.
But it was fun at least. Right?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, at midnight in a bus. Well, and because everybody lives so far away, like all the girls that were on the team that lived in Yosemite would spend the night at my house after an away game, because we had away games on Thursday nights. So they'd all just pile in sleeping bags on the living room floor and then go to school the next day.
Well, it's fun. It's like a way that you get to know your friends, hang out with your friends. I don't think I would have met as many of my friends unless without like cheerleading, because that's what I did. And then I have all these friends that came from that, and I'm really grateful for that. So I feel like sports are just such a good way to get connected to people that you didn't initially think that you could
Mhm.
like hang out with. And it's like really good because then just like also working together in a competitive environment, like seriously, I think helps get like in a funny way get more social with other
Right.
people, even if
Right.
you're trying to like beat them.
Right.
And then also you said you did other activities outside of school.
I did. Well, I lived in the day when you could do all kinds of things.
Free time.
Yeah, because well, on we didn't have like club sports and things like that, so
Mhm.
everything was at school. So all your activities were generated from school. So I was in choir, and I also did theater, and so I had that whole group of friends. I had my artsy friends and my athletic friends, and I was also junior and senior class president. So
Wow.
Okay,
I had
so-
those friends.
Oh,
wow.
So yeah, so I just kept myself busy because there wasn't a whole lot to do outside of school, and so I chose to occupy my time that way, and lots of classes and studying.
So I guess trying to round up the high school experience, would you say you had a good experience, or like what was it about? How was it mentally for you? How did you handle it? What was
Okay, yeah, I certainly wouldn't want to do high school again, and I wouldn't say that high school was the best years of my life by any means.
as many would?
But you know, there was some really good parts. Like I loved my experience with Youth for Christ, and that was really the group of people that really grounded me and helped me continue to go in the direction I wanted to go. Yeah, it's hard to say how I would do it differently. I mean, I was pretty stressed out by my senior year because I was doing so much, and
Yeah.
I was trying to, you know, I wanted to go to a good college, and so I was taking a lot of hard classes, and school didn't come easy to me.
Mhm.
It was a challenge, so I had to work extra hard. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I would have done it differently, but yet on the other hand, like I said, I wouldn't want to repeat it.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it looks better than it did when I was in it. And it wasn't that it was miserable, but you know, when you're a teenager,
It was
up and
what
down
it
and
is.
up
and
down, yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've noticed you've really implemented into our classes. You understand like what we're going through, especially considering that it's senior year. It's kind of like we're realizing, oh, we gotta pull our crap together, and it's time to decide what's happening because it happens so fast. And I'm appreciative of that from you because you see that in us, and you're kind of also not only see it, you push us to do more. You push us to like start thinking about it. As I've seen like many other students in my class who haven't started even thinking about it, they don't know what they want to do, or they're starting late. It's good that you're pushing us to do so. Thank
Yeah, I think it's really important to start moving away from high school while you're there, in the sense of thinking about, okay, who am I? Where do I really want to go? What I really want to do, and to kind of start separating yourself from the you know, it's easy to get settled here and just, this is me and
Go
this
in
is
the
what I
motion.
do, you know. And on one hand, I want you to pause and consider the blessing that you've had here and the people that you've met, and to enjoy these last days. But yet, on the other hand, I do think it's super important to look forward to where you're going and start preparing your heart and mind for what's coming, because the college life is huge. Well, and not just college, but when you in high school, it's a profound transition. Probably one of the second or third biggest transition you'll make in your life. And if you're not thinking about it and preparing yourself for it, I think it can kind of take your feet out.
Yeah, and I think what pushes a lot of students from wanting to prepare is like we're scared of
Mm-hmm.
going into that big open ocean from like our little area, because it's like even if we do have like a large high school, we grew up in a large area, that does not come close to comparing to like being as independent as college brings you.
Mm-hmm.
It also makes you excited. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm really excited to be,
Absolutely.
especially find myself. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be such an important time for me to grow, and an important time for me to like understand who I am and what I want to do, and like really understand what I'm good at, where I want to be, how I want to be as a person. And I'm very excited about that because I think I'm having a better experience. I'm gonna be more independent. It's gonna just overall make me happier.
Yeah, that's really good that you bring that up, because for me, like I said, I grew up with the same people. I graduated with people I started kindergarten with, and I was most excited about being able to go somewhere where I didn't know anybody, and I could be, you know, who I felt God made me to be without anybody coming in with any preconceived ideas of who I was, and I was pretty excited about that, and I think that's something Monte Vista students can relate to, because you know, it's pretty small here, and you know most everybody, and people kind of decide what they think about you
It's
and who you are.
that.
Yeah. So that's it's a very exciting time, and it's a very scary. This is what I told my kids as they went into their senior year. I said, for the next decade of your life, it's going to be like an e-ticket ride. Do you know that saying? Like the e-tickets, when you used to buy tickets for individual rides at amusement parks, the e-tickets were the most expensive, and they were the crazy rides. You know, the rides that, you know, like the that roller coaster at California Adventure, that those were the e-ticket rides. And I said, you know, just strap in and hang on. It's fun, it's exciting, it's terrifying, and but it is really great. It is really great. So I mean, strap in.
I mean, that's like great advice, because you don't really hear that much. Because a lot of people are like, you gotta prepare, then college. After that, goodbye.
Yeah.
You're free, but like we don't really know what happens after that, and it's definitely not something that you can predict. Like, sure, you do have a plan, but it's just like there's no telling like what your emotions are gonna be in that time.
Right.
It's like a lot of just I don't know how to, like, self-exploration, I guess you could say. So like after that whole college, after that, it's even bigger, it's even better, and it's just like, I don't think we fully understand just how much of a good transition I think that is, because we're scared of being as independent, even if we think we're not. We're scared of having to like do taxes, make our own decisions. It's scary because you don't have your mom to make your doctor's appointments and dentist appointments. But it's a great thing. It's like a fantastic thing, and I think we just need to be told that more, instead of just like, I don't know what happens after.
Right. Yeah. Part of the big ups and downs of that e-ticket ride are all the firsts, and I told my kids this too. You're going to come up against one first after another. The first time you have to make a doctor's appointment on your own. The first time you have to do your taxes. The first time you have to register for classes and buy books for yourself. The first time you have to deal with a parking ticket. You know, it's one first after another, and I think the thing that gives us most fear in life is the unknown. And we want to have control. We want to plan everything out. When I say I think you need to start transitioning and thinking about that, I'm talking about thinking about it. You don't really have as much control over it than you think that you do. But I mean, for me, that's where my faith comes in. And with my kids, you know, I really encourage them to start praying in that direction. Asking the Lord how they should prepare individually, and what He wants them to do and who He wants them to be. Like, I didn't just go, and when I went off to college, you know, I wasn't just trying to be whoever I wanted to be. I wanted to be who God made me to be. And so there was a lot of time of considering, like, Lord, how did you make me, and who do you want me to be for the people that are around me and such. So you don't have a ton of control over what's going to happen, but I think it's important to prepare your heart and mind, and have courage.
I think it's good we lose control. Sorry, stop there. I think it's good that we're losing control, because I think throughout our whole life someone has been controlling most, or we've been controlling most, 99% of the aspects of our life, and going into that where we've lost is almost time to grow.
It's totally time to grow, for sure. Yeah. And I think it's really great to talk to adults that know you well, that have been around you, you know, and process all your thoughts and questions about it. And if that's not your parents, that it would be, you know, a teacher that knows you really well, or someone at church, or a friend, or a neighbor.
That's the goal.
Just because they've been in front of you, you know, they've gone before you, and really there is some value to that, you know. And I think if I had to give college students advice, is to really invest themselves in that experience if you're going off to college for 4 years, because those years go super fast, and you don't want to regret just whittling them away, because that's the last opportunity you have to have some freedom and space and time in your life to consider who you are and what you're going to do. When you go into the work world, then it's you know, it's game on.
Yeah, everything starts again.
Right, and so it really is. You know, you think, oh, I always have homework to think about and things like that, but you have space in your life that you don't have responsibilities. I mean, you think you have responsibilities, but you have to completely pay for everything yourself, and then, you know, when you have kids and stuff, that's a whole another level of responsibility. So, but not to just, you know, party until, you know, party while we're young, because you know. No, because that's not. I'm talking about investing in the time and in people, and in what you want to pursue as a career, and really having space and time to do those kind of things, because later on you're just taking care of business, you know.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage students to not whittle away that time with just. Let me put it this way: the over pursuit of pleasure. If you know what I mean. Yeah.
That's thank you. I'm excited for the rest of the year to come, because especially with yesterday opening, the Cal State's opened, and furthermore college early decisions coming out soon. I'm excited because I think if I have ever needed any help, I'll probably come to you. And
okay.
On that note, thank you for having us. I hope if you would like to teach English for next year, the juniors right now would be really appreciative of that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was such a great time interviewing you, Miss Tinsley. Like, we found out so much about you, and it's just great. And if any of you guys have Miss Tinsley, or if any of you know Miss Tinsley, we encourage you to go talk to her, because like, you shouldn't be afraid to talk to your teachers about stuff.
No, absolutely.
That's where you're gonna get the best advice.
Yeah, bring it. It's my favorite part.
All right, well, thank you, Miss Tinsley.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll see you guys next episode 6. So, goodbye.
Bye.